Okay, so we are reviewing. We're in the middle of the Sicha of Parshas by Tafshin Nun Beis, and it's by El Paroh. So I'm going to just go over a few points that we learned up till now, and then we're going to move on to the new material. Okay, so first of all, what was the whole purpose of what did Hashem want to accomplish through the command of Bay El Paroh, come to Paroh, right? And that was to reveal the secret of the great snake. And what's the secret of the great snake? So what I'm understanding is that this is the secret of the power of B'dafka, the light of Tohu. The light of Tohu has special koiches that allow us to reveal Atzmos. It's B'dafka, this light. It's not the light of Tikkun. Of course, Tikkun helps us use this light correctly. That's the point of Tikkun. But it's B'dafka, the Tohu light, which is the secret. That's the secret. This light that has been we've stayed away from it all this time because it's so dangerous, right? It's addictive. It could lead you to crazy, to crazy things. That's because it's so powerful. And this is the light that reveals Atzmos. And what's the point of Hashem's creating the world and the point of giving the Torah is ultimately, it's not really about just doing mitzvahs. The bottom line is everything is leading to the revelation of Atzmos, to reveal the essence of Hashem. Now, the essence of Hashem is something that we can't grasp. It's unperceivable. But yet magically, through the light of Tohu, we'll go into it a little more later, because of its special abilities, it allows us, first of all, for Hashem to reveal Atzmos, which is something that in the past, it would be dangerous. We would expire. It would be too overwhelming to really grasp Hashem. And it allows us to be able to sort of comprehend Atzmos, the essence of Hashem, which is not something we did in the past. In the past, we focused on just God, just like the awareness of God, not about knowing God. It was more the awareness of God. Now this is about knowing God, unifying with God. It's a whole new level. And it's also allowing us to unify all the polar opposites so that we can reveal that everything is God. That's not something we could do in the past. This is all the Geula work. And what the Rebbe is bringing here is it's specifically through the light of Tohu. And later on in the class, the Rebbe is going to say, you must do this. You got to do this. This is not something optional. This is how to reveal Mashiach. So in the past, the Sitra Achra, the other side, which could be the source of the Yetzer Hara, of the evil inclination, and all negativity, guarded this light because it's so powerful and overwhelming. Okay, so it sort of guarded this light and was in charge of this light. But now we have the ability to be able to work with this light, because the Rebbe said we have already completed all the birurim. And what's the birurim? Birurim is the refinements, the service that needed to refine our bodies. We were very, very coarse. And when you're a coarse person, you're not able to connect to your pnimius, to your inwardness, right? You just grab and you're not that refined. In order to connect to the inwardness, which is how we access this light in a holy way, you have to be a more refined person. And this world, now we see through all the work that we did through Torah mitzvahs for thousands of years, this world has become more refined, as we see, and we have become more refined. So the Rebbe, it's interesting that the Rebbe says, I wanted to point something out. The Rebbe says that we've already completed all of the birurim, refinements of the klipa of Paroh and the like, but he doesn't say we have nullified it. He says we have completed the birurim. So that explains why people are still able to make wrong choices. Because it's not that it's nullified. It's not like the choice is obvious, but it's refined enough that we could work with this very, very powerful light. Okay, next, what else did I want to say? That the Rebbe wants to point out here that through doing this work now of finally Baal Parai, facing this, coming home to this very powerful light and going into it and using it, we're going to recognize that every matter in the world, even things that are opposite of good and holiness, have a source above in holiness. When we we heal the triggers, so it might look like anger, but if we look underneath it, really, what is it trying to say? That there's something not okay. There's something that we're being hurt, and it's not our truth, or whatever it is. Or we're angry because we didn't choose ourselves when we were supposed to. So now we're angry at somebody else. But when we go dig deep inside, no, it's not our truth to be a martyr. Because when we're martyrs, what happens? We become resentful, and the energy is not good. But when we are true to ourselves and we make healthy choices about when we do show up and when we don't, in accordance with alignment with the light of Tohu in a holy way, then we realize there's no anger, there's love, and there are better interactions. So this is like, it's a very painful way of receiving these truths. But you know what? The truth is, that's the way that you have das, right? What's das? Is that something without a doubt that this is true, right? But if you didn't test the waters and see what happens when you make wrong choices, how would you even know? And you would always be doubting it, okay? So in a way, it has to be in a package of darkness and negativity, just so you know that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Every time you put yourself last when you're supposed to, put yourself first in those situations, the outcome is chaos, right? And then if somebody would just tell that to you, from well, you're supposed to tune in and see if that's true for you. What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't believe that, But then when you see what happens when you don't are not true to yourself, and what shows up for you, then for sure that it's true, and then you try out. Now what happens if I say, what, I'm not up to it, I need to do this first, and then you see how everybody's happy or whatever. You see that? So it has to be in that package in a certain way in order for it to be das, for you to really, really become one with this truth of Hashem, or else you'd be questioning if it's really true or not. Okay, so but the Rebbe says that, but their source in holiness is the truth of their being. Okay, it's a package that's covering up a very deep truth of Hashem, and the truth of things that we lived wrong for all these years, and that's why we had galus. All right, and now that we're ready to really know what to do with that truth. Because let's say we reveal the truth, okay, that I come first. You don't always come first. So you have to have a lot of trial and error and a lot of learning and understanding before you know how to use it right. It's not to become egotistical. It's when is it right and when it's wrong. And you have to learn that through trial and error. So that's the point. Okay.
Bracha, can I say something about?
Sure.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you for not giving the class 2 weeks, because I think these concepts also need time to digest. And I don't know, I was able to listen to the recording and just really be able to integrate it. I feel like it's so powerful and so it's so new that it's nice to give a break so that you could just digest it. So I want to thank you, and also thank you for the class today. And I want to share something small that happened. You always teach about how Tohu is the body. So yesterday I was, I don't know, feeling tired and overwhelmed, whatever. So I sat and I said, you know what, I'm going to go on to this phone call, whatever, this meeting that I go to. And after 2 minutes of the meeting, I had such a headache. My head was saying no. And then someone texted me, she's asking me something. And I was I turned off the meeting and I called her, and I'm telling you, 90% of the headache went away in a split second.
Wow.
It was so
Wow.
incredible. I never experienced it like that. It was like my body is really, really communicating to me like where it wanted to be. And while I was talking with her, like she wanted me to just answer her in a voice message, but we ended up speaking a little bit and the boys were banging on the door and I just kept, interrupting a little bit here and there, but I knew that the conversation was good. And at the end of the conversation, like no headache, not even 1%. And it was so incredible to me to see the like Yeshua Hashem Keref Ayin and where that salvation comes when I come home to myself and I not just ignore it and abandon, like if I don't listen to those cues, then it's like I forget about myself, like I'm tuning into something else. But when I tuned into myself, hung up the phone, made that phone call, went into that desire. Anyway, so I just want to share that because it was very powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm also seeing myself that if there's a break, it's because Hashem wants me to also integrate. And then I have experiences. I had like in between, I had such experiences that were mind blowing that I want to share. Not all the details, but a lot of it is like, this is like truth. I can't even, there's nothing, there's no doubt. I mean, just to be able to experience such levels of things, like mamish, like beyond, you can't, and like through this work, there's no other answer. How did I get to this place? And just to be able to see that, it's just beyond, you're on the right path. This is just without any effort to be on that level. It's actually enjoyable, in a certain way. It's hard, but it's like, this is like Hashem wants us to enjoy life. It's like he doesn't want us to kill ourselves. It's hard for us because we're so used to the other way, but it's like when you show up and you tune in, what happens naturally is, I'm going to share later, mind blowing. And it's natural. There's no effort. You don't have to think. It's like you're there.
Yeah. And Bracha, also it's so incredible what you're saying. And I just want to, sorry, I keep interrupting you, but I just one thing about the 2 weeks that you didn't give the class and everything, like, I'll tell you what I was thinking. Yesterday, I was thinking that the letters in the Sefer Torah are black, right? And then there's the white around it. So there's the letters, which are in black, and then there's the letters, quote unquote, around the black. So it's incredible. Like, I think we're so used to thinking that the letters in black, though, that's what's talking to us. That's Hashem's wisdom. But really the space, the open space, around it, and that open space is so feminine. It's so like not in control, allowing it just to be.
The chills because it's in this week's class. That what you're saying exactly. That's it.
Oh my gosh, it's also like the whole world is talking about like minimalism and like like having value in everything that you have, and the less you have, the more you can enjoy what you have, and the gratitude. And I was thinking of that, like the open spaces and not having clutter, beating your mind or beating in that. It's like those open spaces, they say so much about the energy is so powerful. It's almost even more than the item itself, the energy that's around it, like the open space. And I don't know, I was just thinking about all that, like how it's just so beautiful. Like it's not like you don't have to make this impact and conquer and make a statement. You could just leave an open space, and there's so much said in that open space, in that silence. In a way, it's silence and it's emptiness, but it's not emptiness. It's so fulfilling.
Yeah, and it's in this class. It's amazing. Well, I hope we could get to it. Thank you so much. Yes, it's amazing. Okay, now. Okay, I just want to make sure I cover everything. Okay, so basically, by the time it comes down, it's so covered up, this truth, that it actually appears as something the opposite. But once we unravel it, so it could look like the most unholy thing could actually be holy. So, like we give an example, the ego. But there's a holy ego which we're coming home to, which the Anochi, right? And when we are connected to it, all the miracles that the Rebbe says is going to happen when you do this happens. I mean, experiencing it in real life, it's just mind-blowing. Yeah, so like a lot of things that we thought is not holy, a lot of times, like I'll say, whatever they're doing, the people who are not holy do the same thing, but you're doing it for a holy reason. They're like an example of what you should also be doing. They will fight this to the death if it's whatever important to whatever. If certain things, you stand up for yourself to the death. You match them, and then you start seeing miracles. But for each thing, you have to know what's the true thing. It's not always the right thing to, but everything you have to be in tune with yourself. But a lot of things you could copy from people who are not healthy and use that same midah for something very holy when it's coming from pnimius. And you'll see that it's mamish, it's miraculous what happens. So the Rebbe says, but we must know that in truth, his source in holiness is actually the truth of his being. There's something true about it when you use that same thing for holiness. And the Rebbe and the Frierdiker Rebbe said this in Basi Lagani. I heard this. I was listening to Basi Lagani, that the things that the other side does, we could take those same things and use it for holiness. The exact same things. Even anger, it's part of coming home to ourselves. I remember, like, sometimes I was proud of myself for inner anger. Not that I let it out on someone. Somebody asked me just something that I was like, all of a sudden, like, who do you think I am? And then I was like so proud. In the past, I thought I was nothing, and I should just let people do that, And now it's like, it's a good anger. Like, no, that's not okay. Who do you think I am? But it doesn't express itself. It's just something. It's coming home. So a lot of things that we judge as bad actually might be very good when it's coming from a true place. So now the Rebbe also brings in that in order to understand what the truth of Paroh's being is, the Rebbe quotes a Zohar that says, "V'hakol nishma Beis Paroh," and the voice was heard in the house of Paroh. And it is explained that the house of Paroh is really in holiness is the heavenly palace. It's symbolic of the palace of Hashem. And the name of Paroh, which is Isparu Kol Naharin, is referring to the light that allows us to reveal Hashem in his palace, right? So that's amazing. The house of Paroh refers to Hashem's palace, which is the dir b'tachtainim. And what does the dir b'tachtainim need? The revelation of Atzmos. And how do we reveal Atzmos? Through Isparu Kol Naharin, this Tohu light that has these two qualities. It has the flow, Isparu, and Kol Naharin, it's the revelation of all the lights, the most hidden lights of Atzmos. And that's B'dafka in the light of Tohu. We're going to get more into that. So the voice is heard in the house of Paroh through this light, this Tohu light, which is from the name of Paroh. And so when we tune in to this voice, the inner voice of our body and our heart, we are connecting to this Tohu light, which its job is to reveal Atzmos, to reveal Hashem's essence. So that is how we are bringing Gula, revealing Gula, because you can't do this. The Rebbe says you can't do this through the lower light of spirituality or of halacha, right? The regular Torah mitzvahs does not accomplish this revelation of Atzmos. You bedafka need this special Tohu light and bring it in when you need it, tune into it in order to reveal Atzmos. Torah and mitzvahs revealed the existence of Hashem, and have made a connection or whatever it is. But Atzmos light can only be revealed through Tohu. It has special, and the Rebbe gets into what's so special about it and why, but after only this light reveals Hashem's essence.
Bracha.
Yeah.
Hi, just a really short, small thing that actually from this week's Parsha, I read something, and it's making me think about this, but the question of why they use the mirrors, right? Like Moshe didn't want to use the women's mirrors for the washing basin. How do you say it in Hebrew? Kier?
The kiyar?
Yeah, the kier. So Moshe felt uncomfortable using it, right? Because it was used for sexuality and for lust, and like getting the women use it to get their husbands interested in them. And of course, we know Hashem was like, no, the opposite, use it. And where was it placed? It was in the courtyard, like right at the entrance to the Mishkan. And so like to think about that, it's like, because it's that revelation, like lust on its own, or sexuality, if it's not refined, of course it's very low, but true desire or true intimacy, true love, passion is actually Tohu. And if it's with Hashem, it's actually very high level. So as you're saying this, I was thinking, in the courtyard was this mirror, right? Was the kiyar to the entrance of the Mishkan. Like actually in order to have an elevated appearance and
wow, the
yeah,
entrance.
like
Yes. The entrance to the Mishkan, the home of God.
Like, right, the elevated Tohu light, which is the kiyar, brings you into a true Mishkan experience.
Wow, it's beautiful. Wow, you see that? We could write our own svarim over here. We have so much that just comes in from being in this light, right? It's like it just grows and grows and grows, and we get more and more understanding of things. I'm getting the chills just thinking about this. Beautiful, thank you. So we'll just continue a little, and then we'll get to the new things. So, what is the revelations of his Paroh Kol Naharin, right? So so the Rebbe says we're talking about two aspects. This light of Tohu that reveals Atzmos, reveals all Kol. Kol means all the Naharin, everything that's within God. Okay, so this has two aspects. First of all, it reveals Atzmos. Okay, and it reveals all the hidden secrets. So like halacha is like, what's the proper way to do this or do that for Hashem? But that's not the revelation of Hashem's secrets. See what I'm saying? That's the difference between the Tikkun light and the Tohu light. The Tohu light reveals like how does Hashem feel about this? It reveals who we are. It reveals, what's the truth about everything. What does Hashem think and feel? So it means, and even why is Hashem doing this like that or whatever? We start understanding Hashem. So it means that all the highest lights are revealed, even things that were hidden. And these are the deepest levels of Hashem, which transcends orders and levels. It's like Hashem that's beyond the created world. It's the highest levels of Hashem. It's not boxed into anything. It's something that you can't even grasp. And it's not referring to the light that's in parameters and form, like halacha, pshat of Torah, because light from a luminary is not as a gushing forth type, which is above all order. It has to have this quality of gushing forth. What does gushing forth mean? That it allows you to be expansive. It also gives you on a level that you can receive. I'm gonna get more into it, but so that's what I'm saying. The Rebbe makes it clear. Why does the Rebbe have to make it clear? Obviously, because people think that if you just continue the same thing, you're going to get Geula. And the Rebbe is making it clear, yes, continue that, but there's new stuff that are actually going to change it from repeating the same thing to something new. And that's why the Rebbe makes it clear. I'm not talking about this. I am talking about that. I'm not talking about the light that's in this world of Aseres HaDibros and all the laws and halachas and all that, minhagim and all that. I'm not talking about that. That's not going to reveal Atzmos. It's not. You need to have this Tohu light, and it's accessed through the pnimius. And the Rebbe is going to bring it again. That's accessed through the pnimius. So what's this light? So before, first of all, before anything is revealed, everything existed in the essence of Hashem, right? Anything that is created, or anything that will ever be created, or anything, whatever, in the highest levels, the lowest, is all within Hashem. So the Kol Nahar in this light reveals things that were there, but you didn't know they were there until they're expressed. Okay, so that's what's special about this light. Okay, but let me get to the next page. Because it's a light that illuminates, it's about revealing that what wasn't seen, and it doesn't say anything about itself. It's mamish pointing out that there's actually potential for creating human beings, for creating animals, for creating different possibilities and all kinds of things. Whatever it is, it reveals. But it's nothing about itself. It doesn't say, "Look at me." It's mamish like invisible, and it always points to the other objects, and it points to existence. And it says, "Through here, you'll see everything." So this quality in the light is very important because Hashem wanted that Atzmos should be revealed. So that's why you need in this light the quality that has no metzius. It doesn't have its own existence, but only that it's able to reveal Atzmos through it. Now, this is very hard to grasp. Like, how does that happen? Well, what I could share is that when whoever's doing the work starts grasping Hashem and starts having natural emunah b'tachan and starts understanding things. That's all I could say. So the Rebbe is revealing what this is about, but in order to really get it, you have to live it. That's what I could say. So we can know it on a conceptual level, but when we're living it, it's amazing. It's natural. You start seeing things, knowing things, understanding things, and you can't explain how you got it. And that's the beauty. It's beyond, that's because it's above limitations and parameters. So it's not even something you could really explain how, what, when, where, I don't know. I just do the work and this is what starts happening. That's all I can tell you. This is what happens. Okay, and it has the gushing forth quality, is Paroh. So what's so special about that? The benefit of this flow light is it gives something to the receiver. It upgrades the person. When we're like, right, you're sitting by the beach, you feel uplifted. It uplifts you, puts you in a good mood. It changes the energy. It gives, like a teacher that gives over information on the level you can understand. Now the person has that information. So you receive something out of it. And now, and also it's like water, okay? Water is a flow. Now the problem with water, on the one hand, when you give somebody water, it revives them. So you see how this light revives us, right? When you're so exhausted and you don't know, when you're tired and you're worn out and you go use some Tohu light and you go use some pleasure and refresh yourself, you're revived and you can actually love God and love everybody else and love yourself because you're in such a good state. So it's something very special. The problem is that something that gives of itself, it sort of loses. So when you pour out from a pitcher of water, there's 1 cup less. But so because it loses of itself, it doesn't have the ability to reflect the light of Atzmos. You can't really say that this is Atzmos, but because it's a combination of 2 lights. So when you're in the Tohu light using it, it's miraculously, you could sit by the beach and refresh yourself, and you just feel like Hashem is revealed. That's how amazing this light is. And this is the light of okay. So I just want to go back. The flow light is the light of expansiveness, lightness, attraction, and it comes with an energy of support and a smooth and effortless way at a speed that we can handle. Okay. So now we understand why we need both, because on its own it doesn't reveal Atzmos. It uplifts us. It puts us in a great place. It's a light of attraction. It's a light of flow. It's a beautiful light, but it doesn't reveal Atzmos on its own. But because it has both qualities, that's why it does both. And now the Rebbe is reminding us again and again throughout the Sikha that don't forget that this light comes mamish straight from Atzmos, from Hashem's essence and being. Okay, so because it's in the house of Paroh, the king is found, revealed in his essence. This is the light that reveals Hashem's essence. We got to use this light as much as we need. Okay. Now, also, what's special about this light? We learned that in order to unify these two lights, these two aspects of the light, you need koyach of atzmos, right? So it's like the miraculous infinite ability of Hashem could make that something, two polar opposites, something that sort of like gives of itself and something that doesn't give of itself could be found in that same light. So now this light is a magical light. And the Rebbe says, now that it has this power from Hashem of unifying two opposites, now when you use this light, you could unify polar opposites in the world through this light. As it comes down, it has the power of unifying the polar opposites of limitless and limited at every level and progression. So it continues downward in a particular order, allowing for the unity of all polar opposites lower down the line according to its own formula and specific exposure with order and gradation. This is what the Rebbe says. Okay, so it starts from the light of Tohu, that this connection is made through Asmos, and now it as it comes down, and we are the masters of this light. We are the ones that when we use this, we could unify everything. We could unify body and soul. Body is physical. Soul is spiritual, right? You can't even grasp it. But through Tohu, we are starting to become one as body and soul. Like sometimes when I explain things on the Malchus WhatsApp, like I can't even know if I'm really talking about the soul or the body anymore. It's really all one, right? Is the pleasure physical, spiritual? I'm like, I don't know. It's physical, spiritual. It's all, you start losing boundaries. The border, right? All that whole distinction gets lost. Like I explained something earlier this week. What was that? I forgot what the question was. Oh, about the body. And the Rebbe actually brings the body in here in this sikha. It's amazing what's in the sikha. And it's like the Alter Rebbe said that you should, if you focus on the body, then you can't have Avos Yisrael because you focus on externals, and when you focus on externals, then taka there's differences. But when you focus on the soul, then we're all one, and you could love yourself, love everybody else. And then so somebody asked why, like, well, doesn't the Rebbe say that the body is actually higher than soul? The Rebbe actually says in the Sikha. We'll see if we get to it in this class. So the answer is that really we're talking about the soul of the body. Like the Nefesh Bahamas is the soul of the body, and that the source of that soul is Tohu, and Tohu unifies. So it's like it's really all. There's no already. It's all the boundaries are blurred. It's all one, really. So that's the beauty that it mamish acts as one. So we don't even know if we're talking about the body, the soul. It's that voice, whatever it is. Is it the voice of the body, the voice of the soul? It's all the same. And then we said that mashal of the Tohu light acts like a pot, right? Because it allows two things that really cannot work together to find a way to work together, and it finds a solution. So like the fire, right, and the water. If you put the water in the fire, there's no water. If you put the fire in the water, there's no fire. Whatever, either way. But if you put the pot, then you could actually find a use that could benefit. At least the water gets warmed up. You can have tea, and the fire feels useful, and he didn't destroy anything. So it's through this energy. It's a very, very powerful energy. The Rebbe is introducing this energy. This is the Geula energy that takes us out of Galus. This is it, and we have to become more aware of this. It's like we knew this stuff all the time, but to see it mamish, the Rebbe goes on and on and on about it. It's like amazing. Okay, I think we're finished. So that's okay. So I'm just going to end here. So that's why the essence of Hashem, which transcends all parameters of vessels and boundaries, escorts Moshe to Paroh. Because with the kayach of the command, it becomes possible that even though he still remains a soul in a limited body, which is a paradox, he's now able to receive the revelations of is Paroh Kol Nar, gushing out of all spiritual lights. This is how to reveal Atzmos. So that's this thing. The kayach of Baal Paroh gave him the access to this Tohu light, even though he didn't have the kalim for it, but Hashem allowed him to have the kalim because Hashem wanted to reveal to Moshe all the secrets of Atzmos. And it was too overpowering. He didn't know what to do with it. He didn't have the kalim for it. But Hashem said, I am giving you this kayach to be able, the kayach that we have now of doing the Geula work, Hashem allowed Moshe to have it and to be able to have all the revelations of Atzmos. And ultimately, after thousands of years, it'll be time to reveal Atzmos in this world through us. And we're the generation that are finally bringing the whole plan of Hashem for this world into reality, into completion. And this I love. And from this is understood that these words of Paroh have a place in Torah and Kedusha, only that according to how they are in Kedusha, it is good in its completion. So again, the Rebbe is saying that now this is sort of like the Torah Chadasha. This is like the space. It's space above the letters, right? This is what we're talking about. It's not just the limited words that we see, but there's a lot more to Hashem that Hashem expresses through the Torah that is not written straight out. And this is like the Torah Chadasha, and it becomes part of its mitzvahs v'tzeinecha. It's like the added mitzvahs of Hashem that we're going to have in Geula. Okay, so now we are ready to do the new. Okay, let's see if it's on my screen. Pashas by Beis. Let's see if I have it. I don't see it. Yeah, here it is. Okay. All right, good. Okay, so we're up to Ice Hay. Ice Hay. Okay. So let me get to the thing. Okay. So the reason why Hashem innovated the novelty, the Chadesh of Baal Pari, come to Pari, was so that Moshe, as soul within a body, was able to internalize the revelation of the gushing of all lights, which will be understood by explaining the overall significance of the Geula from Egypt. In that Kam Tapari was its introduction and beginning, as said above. So again, the Rebbe is saying here that this is how to get out of, Mitzrayim, get out of Galus. Okay, this is very significant that Moshe needs to be able to access the revelation of this of Atzmos, and it's bedafka through, because he's in a soul within a body, it's bedafka through this gushing of all lights, this Paroh Kol Na'arin, that which is the Tohu lights that we are able to bring the Geula. So the intent of the Geula, okay, let's spell it right, from Mitzrayim was Matan Torah, as Hashem said to Moshe immediately at the beginning of the Shlichus, when you bring out the people from Egypt, it is for the purpose of serving Hashem at this mountain. So the innovation of the novelty of the Chiddush of Matan Torah was the giving of the Torah and mitzvahs below to the Jewish people as souls within bodies, in order for them to be able to fulfill the ultimate purpose of creation of the entire world, which was that Hashem desired to have a residence in this lower world. Okay, so the point of everything is not just like people got lost in the mitzvahs, and the Rebbe said in a different sikha, it's not a numbers game. Okay, don't think like if you do 1,000 mitzvahs, you bring Mashiach. It's very internal. It's very personal. It's there's more to it. It has to be that it reveals Atzmos. Now we're up to the stage. It's not no more in the numbers game. Tune in. What is right for me to do at every single moment? Because now it's about finishing the job and revealing the essence of Hashem, and that was the purpose. So it's not, don't get lost in. Of course, we're doing mitzvahs. That's not even a question. But don't get lost in that. You have to go higher. You have to go higher than that. Yeah. Let me just finish this paragraph.
Okay.
That means that within measure, limitations, concealments, and hindrance of the soul of the body in the lower worlds, it will be the revelation of his essence, just as a person finds himself openly within his, okay, I have to delete this, within his personal residence. Okay, just wanted to go into this. Okay, in your personal residence, you could be yourself. You don't have to put on a show. You don't have to put on makeup. You could be true to yourself. You also have it the way you like it, right? And yeah, the Rebbe says maybe somebody doesn't have it, but that's the ultimate of what you should have eventually, right? It should be a house that serves you. It has everything you want, and also has whatever you don't want, you don't have. If it's too, you don't like clutter, it doesn't have clutter. You know what I mean? It serves you. If you like a minimalist house, that's your house. So the same thing that we have to understand, that when Hashem is revealed, it's that every person has to become true to themselves in order for Hashem to be revealed. Because if somebody's not true to themselves, it's not a house that serves, you know what I mean? That's not like you're not at home. And the whole idea is that everybody, which is who we are all a manifestation of Hashem, have to be totally, fully at home in this place, in this world. And we have to be true to ourselves. Because if Hashem decided that this person is going to go down to the world and do X, Y, and Z, and how do you know that you're meant to do it? It just feels right, right? And then you're doing something else because everybody told you what to do. You're not revealing essence. He sent you to do X, Y, and Z, and you're doing something else. So you haven't revealed essence. You just did what everybody else thought you should be doing. But it's about starting to tune in and letting Hashem speak through you, and everybody's sharing through our bodies. We're starting to really, really hear what Hashem wants us to do at every single moment. And that is allowing Hashem to be fully revealed. That's Hatzmos. Yeah, Nechama, you want to share? Nechama?
Yeah. Just 2 examples of this that I got validation from Hashem actually just this week. One of the things that like I have a very little, but like it still comes up sometimes where I'll doubt myself, like as a shlicha, like, you know, all my classes are based on like, you know, the Malchus work and Tohu light and like bringing Hashem into our bodies and healing. And like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm not teaching them about like Shabbos and kosher, you know? And this week, actually Viviana's on the class, she's in my class also. But another woman in my class at the end of the class, she's like, oh, can I stay? Can I talk to you? And I said, sure. And she said, you know, I never wanted to be religious because whatever I know of religious people, I always got the sense it was like, oh, I'm going to pray in the morning so I don't get hit by lightning, or I'm going to, you know, keep kosher so, you know, my house doesn't break down. She's like, I don't know, it was always like so fear-based. And she's like, with you, she's like, I always just hear about the love of Hashem, I love. And she's like, I feel that love in my heart now. And she's like, I don't know, it's scaring me because I never like thought of myself as wanting to more, but she's like, I need to connect. She's like, I feel like I want to like maybe pray. Can you help me get a prayer book, something like, and she's like, because I want it. It's like in me.
See?
And I was like,
that's the point.
Thank you, Hashem. And just one more thing. Also this week, I learned with someone whatever Sunday morning, and we always like learn like whatever, we'll like learn something about pressure, whatever, and we'll discuss. And today, I don't know, it was yesterday, I just was in this flow and I was like talking, and then the whole time I felt this guilty, but why are you talking so much? Like learn, you know, like, and she pays me to learn. So I'm like, okay. And then like after like 40 minutes, she was like listening, we're going back and forth. And then at the end, she said, she's like, oh, I don't want to get emotional. I'm like, it's okay. And she started crying. She's like, Nechama, every single thing you're telling me, I was struggling so much this week. I'm like feeling like an emptiness inside. Like, even though I have such a good life and so many things, I feel like an emptiness inside. And she's like, literally, like, you don't understand. Like, I appreciate what you're saying so much. It was exactly what I needed to hear. And I was like, again, it was like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't even know why I was going on and on and on. You know, it was like, I was like, in my back of my head, I was like, follow the script, go inside, learn what you said you're going to learn. Wow. It was really amazing.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so this is in action. This is live in action. We're living it. And I'm telling you, I hope I get time to share some of the stuff. Unbelievable. Okay, and more so in regards to Hashem, the creator and mover of this world. I don't know if it was meant to say maker. I'll have to check it up. Which will take place in full view in the true and complete Geula. A similarity took place in the Torah, as the verse says, your master will no longer be concealed. So he will be in his residence openly, without hiding covers, even without any lofty covers. Okay? Like, to me, what this says is like the most mundane thing is Hashem. Stop making him so spiritual. Hashem is everything, the most mundane, like no lofty covers. Everything, even why we went to this store and not that store is because Hashem decided. Hashem gets involved in everything, like which gas station to go to. It's all Hashem, you know, and we should start realizing like that's more Hashem than anything. why went here and not there? Because he's leading. We're his like arms and legs, and we get out of the way, he'll take us where we need to go. As is known that before Matan Torah, there was a decree, a division between the higher and lower worlds, in that the higher worlds did not descend into the lower worlds, and the lower worlds did not ascend into the higher worlds, which means that we couldn't, like, before we were commanded in the Torah mitzvahs, we couldn't like even begin to unify the spiritual and physical world. Like, it didn't even affect anything. It was like Hashem is there and we are here, and there was no possibility of unifying the two and revealing Hashem in this world. So it's just something that people did, but didn't really accomplish anything. But at Matan Torah, the decree was nullified and power was given to draw into the lower world the revelation of the higher world, even the loftiest level of godliness, even the very essence, that the physical body in this material world be holy and the residence of Hashem, that they be revealed through the world that Yisrael and Hashem are one. Okay, and we learned in Kiseitse that in order to reveal that Yisrael and Hashem are one, we have to take Yaakov, which is Tikkun, and Esav, which is Tohu, and put them together. We got to use both. That's how we reveal who we really are. Without the Tohu lights, we are not true to ourselves. This light allows us to be true to ourselves, and when we become true to ourselves and home to ourselves, we reveal that Yisrael and Hashem are one. And from here, it is understood that in the exile of Egypt and the exodus from Egypt were the preparations for the revelations of Hashem's essence below at Matan Torah, emphasizing the preparation to nullify the decree, the bridgehead from the status of division between the higher and lower worlds to the status of unification between them, as preparation for the complete unification between the two through Matan Torah itself. Okay, so that was the beginning of allowing the two to unify the spiritual and the physical, and to reveal that everything's Hashem. So Hashem, if everything was revealed at once, we would expire. It would be too intense for us to really grasp, and we wouldn't even know what to do with that information. There's a lot of information that Hashem, in order to have that relationship of Hashem being fully revealed, like it's intense. So Hashem revealed it to us slowly over thousands of years. But ultimately, the beginning was the giving of the Torah that allowed to start the process. But now is the finishing of the process of actually doing the revelation. And we're the ones who have been given the job to complete this mission, which was not able to be done until we completed the Avodas HaBirurim, refinement, which was completed in 1988. And we could say that the main step in this progression came by Hashem's command to Moshe, come to Paroh. So the main step of revealing Atzmos is through this command, come to Paroh, which means use Tohu light. Tohu light has the power to reveal Atzmos and take you out of Golus and access things that are impossible. That's the main step in this progression. Okay, this is the most important thing. Eisvav. And foremost, it is through this way which we can find in the beginning of Moshe's shlichus to take out the Jews of Egypt. The explanation of the argument of Moshe to Hashem: I am not a man of speech. I have an impediment of the mouth and impediment of the tongue. Therefore, please send someone of your choice. Okay, he said, listen, I can't speak. My mouth doesn't work right. My tongue doesn't. So please send somebody else. And it explained in Zohar that Moshe was saying that the speech of Moshe was exile, which is, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is explained in many sources that in the exile of Egypt, the speech of Moshe was in exile, which is why Moshe argued that Geula here cannot be through him. The origins of this matter lies in the loftiness of Moshe, in that from his aspect, he was above revelation entering speech, even above the revelation of the written and spoken words of Torah here below. I have an impediment both of mouth, of the spoken Torah, and impediment of the tongue, the written Torah. So why? Okay, I'm going to get to the main thing. Because Moshe had an impediment of the mouth because his source was from the world of Tohu, where the lights are very intense, unable to be enclosed within vessels. So Moshe's neshama was sourced in Tohu. But he didn't have the kalim. So like he knew at a certain level what what the truth is, what the highest truth is, but he couldn't bring it out because he didn't have the tikkun to be able to express it and to channel it in the right way. And I was thinking, how do we understand this? Like, not able to know the truth and not be able to express it is very. 1 second, I hear an echo. 1 second. So it's mamish, like we were living the same challenge, because the nefesh of Ahamas is really the soul of the light of Tohu, right? And because we were not able to tune into it, and we were mainly meant to suppress it, what happened? The soul wanted to tell us something. The nefesh of Ahamas wanted to tell us something that was true, the highest truth. But because we were not ready, and Hashem didn't want us to hear the message, and we suppressed it, so it was in so much pain that's why it led us to darkness, right? And that's why there's so much, darkness in this world, because there's some kind of truth within our soul, and we know something is true, but yet we can't even put it into words because we don't even know what the truth is. And so, like, we're frustrated, and so that leads to all destructive expressions, because we're unable to validate the truth. And now the Gula work is actually like putting those truths into Kalim. When we're doing the healing work through using this Tohu light, which means that we're not suppressing anything that was suppressed before. We know how to use, channel the truth of it in a holy way and not let it destroy us. And we have the ability to do that. And we're also using pleasure and all that and self-care to be in a good space, right? So now we're finally able to reveal the voice of Tohu. But I could understand how, if you don't have words to express it, I could understand that pain, because it's like, let's say you always put yourself last, and then you felt resentful, right? And you always gave and you gave and you gave. And not only did you give and feel resentful, but people didn't appreciate it. And people weren't nice to you. And you couldn't understand. And here I think I'm being holy and good, and I don't understand. And finally, now that we're learning the truth, that that we're malchus, and we have to be in tune with when it's right to give and when it's not, because we're mamish the essence of Hashem, and the essence of Hashem is holy and is like a king. And you're not just a nobody. You're not a servant. You do things when it's the right thing, when Hashem tells you it's the right thing. So now we understand why we felt so frustrated and why we felt resentment. We didn't even know what's wrong with the picture. And that's helping me understand what it means that Moshe it was from the light of Tohu, but he didn't have the ability to express it, because we didn't either, right? Does everybody relate to that?
Yeah, can I give an example of
Sure,
that?
sure.
It's something actually that I was thinking about. I think it was over Shabbos. I was thinking it's so interesting how in the old world, right, in the Gullus mentality, like fear, like emotions was like the enemy, like the fear of like, oh my gosh, it's going to take so much time. Like, I don't want to feel, I don't want to think, I don't want to make a big deal, I don't want to have drama. So we're always like suppressing the emotions. And then once you start the journey, there's no going back. Like you open up a can of worms. And I was thinking like, wow, I always thought like, until maybe a few months ago, like, okay, fine, I'm in this process, very sensitive, very emotional, feelings always coming up. But like the ultimate, I used to think is like when I'm going to be like emotional free, right? When it's like, oh, I could just live my life and do what I need to do. And then I was thinking about Shabbos, I'm like, it's actually the opposite. The truth is when, what do we say? We say when Mashiach comes, our full-time occupation is going to be to know Hashem and to learn Hashem. So I was like, oh my gosh, we've been running away from emotions our whole life. But the ultimate is to realize we're so busy with emotions, we can't do anything else. So Hashem is making self-driving cars and washing machines and, drones and all these things, because he's got supporting our emotions, our sensitive. That's the ultimate. When we finally accept that the way we find Hashem is when we are full, raw, open heart, feel the sensitives, feel the emotions. That's a full-time job. That is what we're supposed to do. And that's why we're so scared of it, because it takes so much time, because we're so busy trying to be Hashem, control our life, running, making money. And it's like, no, this is Mashiach. Be the feminine, feel your emotions. Yeah, I have to go to the beach today all day to feel my emotions. Guess what? Welcome to life. So
yeah,
anyways.
thank you. I could attest to that. I'm going to see how much let me see what I think see if we could get. We're going to share something. Okay, share something soon. Let me see what I get to. Okay, so okay, so this is the meaning of the impediment of the mouth, that he was unable to transmit the light of his intellect into the vessel of his mouth, which is what Moshe said. Please send the one you consider appropriate, our righteous Mashiach, one from the world of Tikkun, where there are manifold vessels to be able to contain the lights. Right? About this, Hashem answered him, he who gives a person a mouth is the ability to speak. Is it not I, Havaya, Unify? I will be with your mouth and I will guide you what to say, which is amazing because that's what we're doing through this Havaya, right? Hashem is like Nechama shared with, she just kept on saying things and the person said, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Like when we're surrendering to allow Hashem to be fully revealed through us, we're like the car and Hashem's driving. It's amazing. And we start seeing it showing up and it becomes like, oh, that's why I did that. That's why Hashem wanted I should do that, and things start making sense. From the essence of Hashem, who is almighty, I can do anything, and he's the source of the vessels of the mouth speech in the world of Tikkun and the manifold lights of Tohu. So Hashem is able to make it happen in that even in the exile of Egypt, and for Moshe as well, who is above containment vessels, there can be the revelation of speech in his mouth. Okay, so he didn't have the vessels to speak, right? Because he didn't have the kalim, but Hashem said, listen, I could be the kalim. I could make it. If I could make you not have kalim, I can make you have kalim. I could do whatever I want. So through Bai El Pareh, Hashem actually gave him the kalim. And I will be with your mouth, meaning that even though from your source Tohu you do not have the necessary receptive vessels, yet I am Havaya who created the vessels of Tikkun and the world of Tohu. Therefore, it is I who is able to reverse the matter and put together the aspects of Tohu and Tikkun so that they express the benefits of both together. The manifold lights which are in Tohu and the manifold vessels which are Tikkun. So Tikkun is the vessels, right? So it's like when, how do you express this the right way? You can't just because you understand that you're worthy, just because you understand that this is not true or this is true, doesn't mean, or even if somebody was wrong, whatever, doesn't mean you should go and do something destructive with it. So you have Tikkun that helps you figure out what to do, or like make rules, like from now on, what am I going to do different so that I could come into Shabbos with joy, right? So that's, you need the Tikkun to be able to channel those truths in the right way. However, at the time in Egypt, when Hashem said, I will be with your mouth, the revelation was miraculous because at the time that Moshe spoke with Paroh, his words were unintelligible. Thus, and also Aaron, your brother, will be your interpreter, and you, Moshe, should speak to him, Aaron, and put the words in his mouth, and he will act for you as a mouth. Okay? So which it's just proving that he was not able naturally to speak. He had a speech impediment because it's like a word retrieval disability, right? Some children have that because like they know it in their mind, but they can't get it out. So that was like what Moshe had, because he had such high understandings, but he couldn't put it into words. In order for the words to appear complete and natural. However, Moshe was not yet healed at that time, which is why Moshe said later, I have uncircumcised lips. So even though Hashem said, I'm going to come with you and you'll be able to express what you need to, he didn't heal him. He just came with him and like gave him that miracle, but he wasn't healed. It was only his healing came with the revelation of unify. I will be with your mouth at Matan Torah, the opening of the 10 Commandments, which is fascinating because how is our healing coming? Through, right, when we feel triggered, right? So we go through all the feelings. I feel this. What does this situation make me feel like? I feel this, I feel that, I feel that. And then we turn it around. We say, I am worthy, I am respected, I am loved, I am awesome, I am this and that. That's the unify. So the healing came through the word unify, which is fascinating because that is how we are healing and connecting to Hashem, to our source of Asmos. It's all these connections are very relevant. This is why Moshe had it in his power to make the exodus happen, even though at that time his speech was still in exile. Because, like we said, Hashem acted as the kalim, but then later when Anochi Hashem is revealed, he was actually able. His speech impediment was was healed, because it's like, I don't understand. There's something wrong, right? With ourselves, right? There's something wrong with the picture. How come it doesn't feel right? Oh, I know why. Anaychi Hashem. I am one with Hashem, and therefore I don't have to do what everybody thinks I should be doing. I have to tune into Anaychi Hashem through me. Okay, so now there's a connection over here. However, in order for the revelation of Hashem's words throughout the world, there had to be the destruction of the klipa of Egypt through Hashem saying to Moshe, I will be with your mouth, which afterwards would bring the revelation of speech at Matan Torah. Anaychi, I am Hashem, your God. It was then that Moshe was entirely healed. Now I just want to go through this quickly. Zion. I wish I could do more. Okay, 1 second. I don't want to go more than an hour. 1 second. Okay, I guess we'll stop here, but I'll just share what happened, because I want to keep it to an hour. Okay, so what Simcha Chaya shared is actually in the next 2 ICAs about the letters, and that we're able to go beyond the limitations of the black letters, and then there's the body, how the body is higher than the soul, and all that is actually the next 2 ICAs. But I want to share that what happened to me last week was just mind-blowing, and it's just, and I'm not sharing it to be boastful, but I'm sharing it to inspire everybody that this is real stuff. This is unbelievable. I'm just in such awe of how this happened. So I had a situation that I knew was going to come up on one of the days during the week, and logically it should have been so triggering like you can't imagine. Anybody that said they were going to go through that situation should be triggered. It's for many reasons, should have been a very triggering situation. The interesting thing is, because I am living in this kayach, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was in the now, and I wasn't triggered at all. I wasn't worried about it. Nothing. I felt fine. And normally in the past, the old me who hasn't done this work would be thinking, this is not right, and how could this and that, and oh my God, and oh my God, I'm trying to do things to maybe stop it, and worried and control, and it's like, but the new me wasn't affected at all. Then came the day that I had to deal with it, and there was a couple of hours, and the whatever people that thought, whatever had certain intentions that were not really very respectful or whatever, while they're doing whatever they did, I'm totally unfazed. Nothing, no triggers. 1 to 10, 0. I was like, couldn't believe it. After I came home, I was so unaffected, so that it was like as if it never happened, that I can't even remember that happened. I was like, whoa, this is like, because there was nothing for me to heal in this situation. If I was supposed to, it was already healed, whatever needed to be healed. So, but Hashem wanted that thing to happen, and I understood why. I'll tell you why later. But because there was nothing for me to heal, it was 0 trigger. And it's not like I had to tell myself and convince myself that, it's really good, and it's not, it's Hashem, nothing. It's silence, nothing. I didn't have to tell myself, it just nothing came up, and I wasn't detached, nothing. And even afterwards, I can't even remember, and I don't even have any resentment against them, because I don't even remember it happened. It didn't happen. So it didn't happen. It's like, and it wasn't even nothing. And the interesting thing was that these people thought that they were, not on my side or whatever, coming to harm. And it happened to be a miracle, and everything they did was for my benefit. So that's besides the point. But still, even though everything was miraculous, and there were miracles going on the whole time, you still have a reason, right, to be upset. That what kind of chutzpah, but nothing. And it was just so, I'm like, I felt like the reason why Hashem had me go through that is just to prove that when you do this work, you're in Geula. how is that possible? That to have no trigger in such a triggering situation, it's just impossible. And that's what the Rebbe talks about in Isaiah Neches, that it's not just your soul, it's like your body is gonna be mamash above limitations. And I didn't do anything fancy. I didn't do any davening. I didn't have any kavanas. I didn't say extra tehillim, nothing. I'm just doing the geula work, what we talk about the whole time. That's all I did. And I didn't do in a schus of that and this, nothing. Just doing, as triggers come up, do the thing, put yourself in a good space, pleasure, self-care, whatever you got to do, all that. And this is the outcome. That was one thing. And I had another miracle, 2 miracles last week of something that like I needed, but I knew it would be impossible for me to make it happen. And everybody's like, how are you going to get that accomplished? I said, this is something beyond my abilities. Hashem has to make it happen because I definitely cannot make it happen. And with like, I was in complete like shock that that thing happened, sort of like the beginning of it, like in a way that was like in a miraculous way, handed to me on a silver platter, on a golden platter. Here, I'm like, what? Here, I thought, who knows what? It's impossible for this to happen, and something that I really wanted, and it in the most beautiful way. Hashem, obviously, it's like, so that's the thing. When you're in this light, and you don't even know how it's going to happen, you just have to be on the journey. I had no idea. I said, I have no idea how this thing's going to happen. So that's it. Hashem's going to do it. Hashem did it. It was like crazy. Like, this doesn't make sense. But that's why I want to share that this is real stuff. You know, whoever has any questions about it, how do you know it's right? How do you know this? You're not living geula if you're doing the wrong thing. Definitely. You know what I mean? Like, how could I be living this geula if this is not the truth? You know, it's like when you live it and it shows up. And it doesn't mean that I don't always, it doesn't mean I never have triggers, but whatever it was, I didn't need to heal from that. So you could go through crazy situations and be totally unruffled without even thinking, without even telling yourself anything, without even doing this plus that, nothing. I still can't get over. I can't even remember that it happened, but I know factually that it happened. But yeah, so now I'm gonna stop the screen because it's 2:39. And then whoever wants to share, wait, no, not so. I'm going to stop the recording. And then whoever wants to share, pause, stop. How do you stop? 1 second. If you want to stop the recording, yeah.